Ladies and gentlemen, federal employees, today we're talking about RMDs, required minimum distributions, how they will affect you as a federal employee, what they actually are, how much they'll be, when they're going to start for you, and how to reduce them to save you taxes. That is the goal. That's what we're going to dive into today. Now, if you're a federal employee and you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, what are you doing? Go ahead and subscribe. This is the best place to get answers about maximize your benefits and retiring confident. Let's dive in. What on earth is RMDs, or required minimum distributions? As the name suggests, the government says, hey, you know those pre-tax retirement accounts you have, like traditional TSP, like traditional IRAs or traditional 401ks? You know all those? You know how you got a bunch of money you haven't paid taxes on yet? Yeah, we're going to want that out. Right? They start requiring you to pull money out of these accounts starting at, well, we'll get there, at different ages depending on when you're born. We'll get there. You're going to be forced to withdraw from them. Excuse me. And the good news, though, if you have Roth accounts, they are not subject to RMDs like Roth TSP, Roth IRAs, Roth 401k. Those are not subject to RMDs. But any pre-tax retirement accounts, again, those are subject to them. So you're going to have to start taking money out every single year after you hit the age. Now, when does this actually start? Okay, I wish it was the same age for everybody, but it's not. It's either 70 and a half, 72, 73, or 75, depending on your birthday. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to have my editor throw up a chart here on the screen, okay? He'll put it there for a few seconds. You can find your birthday and when you were born, and it will line up to when your RMDs will start. Again, it's going to be, for most of you, it's going to be age 73 or 75, depending on when you were born, okay? That's when they start. So, for example, if your RMDs start at 73, in the year you turn 73, you got to take an RMD, okay? And you got to pull the money out and pay taxes on it. Now, there's ways to avoid taxes, which we'll get there. We'll get there. Hang with me. And every single year, you have to take more and more. So let's actually talk about that. How much do they require you to pull out? Well, it depends on your life expectancy. They got tables. You can go online to find a RMD calculator to kind of get some rough estimates, but it normally starts anywhere from 4 to 5%, okay? So if you have $1 million in your TSP, 4% is 40,000 that you would have to pull out, okay? Now, when you pull this money out, you cannot move it to a Roth IRA. You cannot do Roth conversions with RMD money. You cannot do that. They do not allow it. Now, anything above and beyond your RMD, for example, if your RMD is 4% and you take more than 4%, anything above and beyond that 4%, you could do Roth conversions with. Now, if you don't know what Roth conversions are, check out my other videos on Roth conversions, okay? And as you age, they want a higher and higher percentage out of your account, okay? So at 73, it may be 4. At 75, it may be 5% or whatever it may be. I'm just making these numbers up, right? But this is roughly where it starts, okay? Between 4 and 5% for most people. And then it goes up from there. So what's the big deal? Someone might ask, okay, they require me to start taking money out, but why is this a problem? Well, it's not a problem for everybody, but for some it is. Let me give you an example, okay? Let's say this is your chart of your retirement, okay? Let's say your income starts about here. Things are good. And let's say your Social Security and your pension, they're healthy, they're doing well. You really don't need to take from your investments. That's a great place to be, okay? And let's say right here is 73 when you start RMDs. Well, they say, look, over this time, let's say your money has really grown. It's gone really well. You haven't really touched it. Well, they're going to start requiring you to pull it out, and your taxable income, boom, right, goes up, something like that over time. Now, this only happens if you've got big pre-tax retirement accounts, okay? Now, this doesn't always happen. Like if you're taking a bunch from your investments early on, then this will be less of an issue because you're already drawing down the account, okay? But especially for those that don't really plan on needing their accounts much, this can be a big problem where it jumps up your taxable income, and things like Medicare premiums are based on your income. That'll increase it, so it'll increase your tax bracket and Medicare premiums, okay? Again, this is not a problem for everybody, but for some, it's a big problem, okay? And it gets us to the last question of, how do we reduce this? How do we plan for this to be prepared, okay? And here are some thoughts. There's really a couple different ways. Number one, you can do Roth conversions now, before 73, right? In this zone, retirement and 73, between there, you can do Roth conversions. Now, what is that? Well, long story short, it's getting money from pre-tax accounts, okay? So this, let's say, is a pre-tax account. We get it over to Roth accounts over time. That's what a Roth conversion is. Now, I'm not going to go into the details. Check out my other videos for that. But long story short, yes, you pay taxes when you make this transfer, but once you get money in here, it grows tax-free forever, and there's no RMDs on Roth accounts, okay? So you got money that you have control over when it comes out, and it can grow tax-free, which is great. So food for that. So that's one strategy to reduce down your pre-tax accounts and increase your money that is not subject to RMDs. Now, there's another cool strategy called QCD. QCD, okay, another acronym. Gotta love the acronym. It stands for Qualified Charitable Distribution. This is what a QCD is. Excuse me. If you have, let's say your RMD this year requires you take out $20,000, okay? If that's what your RMD is, if you send that money straight to the charity of your choice, like it doesn't come to you first, it just goes to the charity of your choice, you can do all of the $20,000 or a piece of it. Whatever you send to charity doesn't show up on your income at all. So instead of it popping you up here, maybe it pops you here, or depending on how much you're forced to withdraw, right? It's basically sending your RMD to charity. That's what it is. And it's by far the most tax efficient way to give to charity, because that income you send to charity, it doesn't show up on your income at all. It won't affect your Medicare premiums. It won't impact your tax bracket. It's a great, great strategy, especially for those that like to give to charity anyway, right? You're going to give to charity, might as well do it with this. Again, you can only do this, though, when you're paying RMDs, okay? So keep that in mind. That can be a great strategy for those that are charitably inclined and they want to give money to charity. But one thing to keep in mind, unfortunately, as of today, the TSP doesn't allow QCDs from the TSP. You'd have to move to an IRA to get that done. IRAs have lots of more options in retirement, generally speaking, than TSP. I've got whole videos on that. It's not always the better option, but for many, especially if you're interested in QCDs, it might make sense. So go check out my other videos on TSP versus IRAs in retirement, because there's lots to consider. But those are the main things to help reduce your RMD impact on you in retirement. So I hope that's helpful, and I'll see you guys in the next video.